Hey folks, welcome to Fresh Produce. I'm Pete from BTI. We've got a new product launch for you that just happened recently. It's something kind of simple, but I wanted to talk about a few of the details. Today we've got the WTB rocket plug kit. WTB saw the popularity of Dynaplugs out there. Tons of riders are using them. They work really good, but those replacement strips, the actual plugs, are a little bit expensive. They do include a really nice metal tip that makes them super durable once they're installed. And that also helps just getting them in correctly. So what WTB has done here is a little kit, about the same size, pretty easy to toss in the jersey pocket. Inside you've got an installer. It's not just a forked thing that pushes in a bacon strip or a plug into your tire. This is actually a very small aluminum tip that you string a plug through the center of. And that entire tip is going to stay with the plug inside your tire. So it acts as an anchor. If it can tip sideways and really anchor it in, or it can just kind of sit in there straight, but it's probably going to be wide enough to not pull out. So a bunch of their marketing materials, lifting a bike by these plugs. These tips come in two sizes. This small one actually fits 2 bacon strips in. So if you just need 1 bacon strip to toss that in, you're good to go. If you need a bigger hole plug, you can fit 2 in. That's what we've got loaded up here. And then they've got a couple more in the kit. The bigger one fits 3 bacon strips. So if you've got a bigger hole or a long slice, it can really be useful to cram more in there. I've found when I'm dealing with a big hole and I'm just using a forked installer and I'm putting a bunch of bacon strips in, they get pretty loose. They are not very secure. So having that extra tip in there to kind of anchor the strip in, or the plug in, it's going to help a ton, keeping it from pulling out. Also, it's going to allow the bacon strips to kind of conform to the shape of the cut and fill it better. So they've got another little unique tool on the other side. It's just a cone-shaped plug, but the idea there is if you've got some air pressure in your tire and it's slowly seeping out while you're trying to deal with things, sealant running everywhere for whatever reason, not plugging, you can pop this into the hole itself to sort of act as a plug and keep some air pressure and some sealant in your tire while you're getting the plug ready. You may need to put in 2 or 3 strips into the tip, okay? And then once you're ready, pull that thing out, punch your plug in, and you're ready to roll. So the kit comes with 2 big tips, 2 small tips, and a whole bunch of bacon strips to fill them up. Another unique thing that WTB is doing, while they're selling refill kits, they don't just come with the bacon strips, though. They come with a bunch of extra tips. If you wanted to, the tips just fit on a 2 and 3 mil Allen. So if you wanted to just install those on your multi-tool that you already carry, that's a fine possibility. I've got the small and the large loaded onto a 2 and 3 mil Allen right here. Now one thing you don't get is the right length. So you have to be a little extra careful not to push the whole bacon strip into your tire. That's one nice thing about using the tool. It keeps it just at the right depth. But if you want to keep things ultra minimal, that's a possibility. All right, so let's get one of these installed and you can kind of see how it works. Not too different in practice, but I think it's informative to see how these conform. I've got a slice right on the sidewall of this tire, right at the bead. It's one that, a style that's usually really hard for me to plug when it happens in the real world. So I'm pushing that tool in. The bullet tip gets stuck down there. The other ends stick out and really nice and secure because that bullet tip sort of folds over and locks in place. And you can see how the bacon strips line up and sort of fill the length of that slice. I've got an even bigger one, a really huge slice that if I got this out in the real world, I would usually just put a tube in, maybe even have to patch it. It's a big one and it'd be tough to plug, but I think that these kits really give us the possibility. So what I'm going to do is pull off 3 bacon strips, get them installed in the big tip. Okay, so you can see those go through pretty easy. These also, if you have the thicker black bacon strips, they'll fit 2 in there, so that's an option. So here's my slice, and it's a big one, like I said. pretty easy to pop that right in, get it pushed down to the right depth. Now, what I really see is the strips now sort of line up and fill the length of that slice a little bit better than if it was just one thick one. This slice probably needs a second set, so you could just load it up and put another one in next to it. That's perfectly fine. But really well anchored. That's another thing with a slice this big, I would be really worried these would pull out. So that's a nice reason to have that anchor inside. Another point to make, folks, once this tire's trashed, you get home, you're ready to just replace it with a new one, just snip out the bacon strip and reuse the tips. These things are gonna keep going for a long time. So WTB did a really cool job of making this product a little bit more sustainable and giving users a ton of options to really work in the real world. So if you want to try out one of these new rocket plug kits, make sure you ask at your local bike shop and tell them BTI sent you.